Hi, so in this video I'm going to try and give you just a brief overview of the new features that we've got in the latest version of the machine software update, which is version 1.6. So I'm just going to go into the settings button. Nothing really has changed on page 1. Or page 2, we've still got everything the same there. Page 3, and then on page 4, we've now got scanning stroke cutting position adjustment. And basically, if you click on this wrench icon, you can now follow some on-screen instructions and calibrate your machine. Now, this isn't the calibration that you do for the touch screen when maybe shapes are not moving where they should do when you try to move them. This is an actual cutting calibration. We were able to do this before the update, but now there's a specific button for it from within this settings icon. There will be a link on my blog on the ScanNCut information page. If you scroll down to the bottom, there's a direct link to a Brother video which basically shows you what happens when you follow this setting through its procedure. So I'm not going to go into it here. Go to page 5, that shows you the version, and then you've got machine information, and this basically just tells you the maximum scanning area, the maximum number of patterns, and then it tells you whether it can read the Brother applique embroidery files or not. If I go to the home button and then go to scan, we've still got the same features here. Direct cut, that's where you can stamp a design onto, say, a piece of card, put that card on a mat and ask the ScanNCut to scan it and apply an outline around the edge. Scan to cut data is more or less the same thing, but allows you to save the design either directly into your machine or onto a USB stick. And scan to USB, which are found from having messages from people over the last 6 months or so, that not many people realise that the ScanNCut machine is a built-in scanner in its own right. So this is where, if you've got a document or a photo that you want to scan and save a digital copy, this is the option that you would use. So if we just go into direct cut now, you will see now in the UK updated version, we have this recognition mode, and by default it's got 4 little black through to grey boxes, which is greyscale scanning. I would tend to use that in the main, I think, but if you try this scanning option and it doesn't work, you can click on this little wrench icon and you can choose this option, which is colour recognition, and when you say OK, you can see now that the boxes have changed to 4 colours, and that means that the scanner will pick up full colour recognition. So I'm going to change it back to black and white, and what I'm going to do now, I've stamped an image and deliberately stamped it in 2 fairly faint colours, and I know that this stamped image that I've stamped has been a little bit hit and miss in the past for the ScanNCut to detect it. And the reason that is, I'm not sure whether you're going to be able to see this or not. But the reason that this is a Stampin' Up Christmas stamp, and it may not show up on the video, but basically there are open lines here where the sections are that are white. They're not closed lines, and the ScanNCut seems to need a closed path to be able to pick up a scan well enough to be able to recognise to put a line around it. So I have got the machine in the past to scan this and add an outline for me to be able to cut it, but it has been a little bit hit and miss. So what I've done, I've stamped it twice, and I'm not sure if you can see, but basically I've stamped it once in a pale kind of peachy stamp, and then I've used like a second generation stamping, so it's very pale. So I'm going to load this into the machine, and I'm going to see, using the black and white or grayscale, if the machine picks it up. I don't know whether it will because I've not tried it, but I'm just going to try it now. So I'm just going to load the machine up. Okay, I've had to move the camera back now to allow for the mat to get in and out of the machine. So basically I've got the piece of white card with the two stamped images, and I'm in grayscale here. I will try and zoom in at this part on the video if I can for you. So I'm going to ask the machine to do a direct cut and see if it recognises these shapes for me. Okay, so that's gone through the machine and it says it's recognising, and I'm trying to zoom in a little bit more for you to see now. So I'm going to say OK and see if it can pick up either of these designs. So I'm not sure how closely you can see that. I'll try and bring the machine in. But basically it's picked up all the marks on my cutting mat, which are bits of old paper and debris that I need to scrape off, but it's not found the trees at all. There's a slight tiny little black mark on the very bottom of that tree, but it really hasn't picked anything up at all. So I'm going to go back to home and go back to pattern. Sorry, back to scan. I'm going to go to direct cut again. This time I'm going to go into the settings and go for colour and say OK. And I'll move the camera back out and I'll say OK and see if it picks anything up this time. Okay, so I'm just going to zoom in again back towards the screen. Hope I'm not making you feel seasick with this. I'm going to isolate the area and say OK and see if it picks anything up. Now there, this time, I hope you can see this, it's clearly picked up both the trees. So from here now, I can choose to just cut it. If I say OK, I can choose to just cut it as it is or add an outline. I'll put a 0.4 outline, which is basically just a couple of milli. Make sure it's stuck down on my mat. I don't think my blade is high enough because this is actually my original blade. So in March this year, this blade is 2 years old. So I'm having to take it up a little bit now. So I've put it on 6. So I'm going to say OK, OK again, and I'm going to ask it to cut. Okay, I'm just going to move that back a little bit and take that off so you can see, and get my spatula. I'll just move the camera. So that's the first one. And it's basically, it's got little knobbles on the side of it. And basically that's following the path of the stamped image. So that's the palest one. And that's the darker one. And again, I don't know if you can see, but it's actually following the path of this stamped image is not a clean edge, it's not a straight edge. So I've asked it to put a 0.04 border around it, and it's basically done exactly that. So it's picked up even the tiny little imperfections in the stamped image, because this is actually, it's plain on the back, but this card is actually textured card. I'm not sure whether you'll be able to see it on close up or not, but it's actually, can you see it's got lines in it? It's a textured card, it's like a linen texture. So when I've stamped these images, the ink has bled into those lines, and the ScanNCut with the colour recognition has actually recognised and read all those as well. So using the greyscale, it didn't pick them up, but using the new colour recognition, it has, which is pretty amazing really, as I say, because this stamped image I know has caused me trouble before because it's got broken edges to it. So the next feature that we got in this 1.60 update was the ability for the ScanNCut to now be able to read SVG files. If you're new to ScanNCut or new to electronic cutting machines and you don't know what an SVG file is, every electronic cutting machine has its own file format. The ScanNCut is FCM. Something like the Puzzles Inspiration would be a WPC, Silhouette, Cameo and Portrait, they have their own. And as I say, up to now, ScanNCut has only been able to cut its own cutting file format of FCM. But we were able to use SVG files, which are files made in another program. It's a universal file format. It's called Scalable Vector Graphic. And with the online software ScanNCut Canvas, we were able to import SVG files and convert them automatically into an FCM, which we could then put onto a USB stick and put into our ScanNCut. But with this update now, we can, as I say, import and cut SVG files as well, which opens up a whole new world really of possibilities, and it saves us having to convert. So I've got a USB stick loaded into the side of my ScanNCut machine, and on the USB stick I've got a folder called Vinyl, and in there I've got a cutting file that I made in Inkscape. And if you don't know what Inkscape is, it's a free vector software that's available to download off the internet, works on both Windows and Mac. There's a direct link to it from my blog, so if you go to my blog, the link will be under this video, and go to the bottom of the home page. There's a direct link to Inkscape. So I went into Inkscape and I made a cutting file recently. Some of you may have seen it on my Facebook page, or I think I may have posted it on Pinterest. And it was a vinyl project, a split letter. I made that in Inkscape. I brought the file into Canvas and converted it to an FCM, but I also saved an SVG format as well. So on this USB stick now, I'm going to go into Pattern, Save Data, go to my USB stick, scroll down to the page that has got my vinyl folder, which is here right at the bottom. And in here now, I'm going to go and find, it's called Pierce Split. That's my FCM cutting file. But if I go to page 4, you can see it's on 3 of 4. So if I go to page 4, there is the Pierce Split SVG. So I can choose that, and it's telling me it's retrieving it, and it should bring it onto my Scan and Cut screen. Okay, so it's there now. So if I say OK, it's now put it on my map. So there is my, I'm going to bring it down into the bottom right hand corner. I'm going to go back, add, save data, USB stick, go to my vinyl folder again and find the FCM version, which is there, Pierce underscore. I'm going to say OK. That's the FCM. And that is the SVG, and they are identical. So I think that just about covers all the updates in this version 1.60. We didn't get 12x24 scanning capability. And obviously we didn't get any Wi-Fi. Those two features are in the new Wi-Fi enabled ScanNCut 2 or Special Edition, I think it's being called in the UK. I think it might be called the 700 or the 900 in other parts of the world. But what we have got seems to be a great improvement. So I hope that you may have found that helpful. Please leave me any questions or comments on the video below, and if I know the answers or I can help, I will try and do so. Please like, share and subscribe if you don't already subscribe to my my YouTube channel. Please also look at my blog. The details are at the beginning of this video and will also be in the description box below, because on there I also post hints and tips and projects that I've made with the ScanNCut. And I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Thank you.